Okay, so this week's video, they both talked about Asian cultures and countries, so China and Japan. Obviously, each culture across the world is so incredibly different. Like the woman in the first video talked about how in China they enjoy building relationships, but they do it so differently. Them, it takes like a lot of time and trust, but then once you're in, you're kind of in, for lack of a better term. So they really favor those long-term relationships. Like she was talking about the teachers, like you can hardly remember their names, but in China, they're getting lunch with them like 20 years later kind of thing. And then she did mention you can ask for a gift, but it does need to be like paid back eventually. It's, I don't know if like disrespectful is the right word, but you just do not like give back a gift or like pay it back kind of thing, which is interesting. So I think it was like an international marketing or something like that, and I had this teacher's name was Norm Burkhart, right? He traveled around so much. He knew like 15, like an absurd amount of languages, right? And growing up, he moved all around the world because his dad, I believe, was like a U.S. diplomat. So he had all these examples. And he did mention the gift thing. He said that, I believe it was China, they would like bow and like just like present this gift to you because it was a sign of respect. So I thought it was interesting in the video as well. And then in the video, they also talk about like if you go there just with a deadline, they're not going to appreciate it. Like it's not here sometimes, and in European countries it's very like boom boom boom, like you want to get things done, but there it's very relationship oriented and they need to trust you to do business with you. So the biggest things I took away, to look at things from different angles, have a long-term view. Patience is always great with communication, to really get to know kind of what they're talking about. And if you're impatient, you're going to come across like a jerk and you're not really going to get to the root of what the person is trying to say. Be open and a good listener, which I can always work on. So in the second video, he talked about moving, I don't know if he was, well, anyway, so he moved to Japan like 6th grade and it was just vastly different from where he was. And he said he like asked the question and he kind of got ridiculed because he didn't know what, the communication was like there. So he thought he was just like this failure at communication. And turns out every culture, like I said before, is just so incredibly different. So something Rosie said was never interrupt when people are talking. Even if you're confused, it's rude. Don't ask questions if you can look it up later. Never think out loud. If you're gonna open your mouth, you better think deeply. I can work on that. The example he used was that samurais can't take back swords. So that's just so different. In America, we do those things to build rapport, and I can't, just growing up all through school, they're always like, there's no such thing as dumb question, or like, at every single time, I can't even tell you how many times people will be like, in a presentation, or just in school in general, or like my boss will be like, do you have any questions? So it's just crazy how different, like, we're so like, questions, like, do you have any questions? Ask all your questions. It's not a dumb question here. But obviously in Japan, it's so different and they almost view it disrespectful to ask questions. And here we use it so much as like rapport building and to like get to know people. And I'm always asking questions, whether it's like professional or like, what's your favorite color? That kind of thing. So he said like, never interrupt, don't ask questions, don't speak up. And something I thought was interesting that he's talking about is being an active listener. Like some of these communication problems could be resolved or wouldn't even be problems if the other person was an active listener. So like if communication might not be, or just in general, not even if you don't know, but like we should always just be active listening to try to make communication better, whether we think that they might be bad at communication, just from like what people have told us, or if we don't even know them at all, it doesn't matter. Like we should all just be active listeners. And then also don't like prejudge someone just because they might be from another country. Like don't just assume that their communication is 100% different or they don't know anything about it. that's also not right. But just in general, just be active listeners. Just improve communication with everybody and not just if they're from a different country. Yeah, so I found this very interesting. Obviously, I have some skills that I do need to work on, but I'm only human, right? Have a good rest of your week.